Welcome to California in Focus. I'm Eliana Kernodle. California Attorney General Rob Bonta announced a plea agreement has been reached to result in no jail time for activists who recorded conversations with Planned Parenthood staff about the procurement and sale of tissue from aborted fetuses. Joining me with more on this story is the Center Square's California reporter, Kenneth Schrupp. Kenneth, what is the history of this case?
Hey, Eliana. In 2015, David Robert Daleiden, I hope I'm saying that name correctly, and Sandra Merritt went undercover to talk to a lot of senior staff members for Planned Parenthood. They posed as buyers for a medical company seeking to buy parts of aborted fetuses for medical research. Their 2015 video resulted in a policy change by Planned Parenthood to no longer accept money for these fetal parts for medical research. They can only donate them to medical research. But the result of this video's release was an investigation started by then Attorney General for California, Kamala Harris. At least that's what David Daleiden said. And then the filing of 15 charges against David and Sandra by California Attorney General who succeeded Kamala Harris, Xavier Becerra, who became the Biden administration cabinet secretary for the Department of Health and Human Services, for illegally recording private conversations without other parties' consent. And this is a law that has really rarely been invoked in California because it's generally, recognized as a threat to First Amendment rights and journalism. So this is a very rarely used statute.
So what are the details of this deal that they've reached?
Well, this deal really allows California Attorney General Rob Bonta to claim a victory without David and Sandra having to go to prison. This deal has those 15 charges reduced down to one charge and no jail time at all in return for a nolo contendere or no contest plea by Daleiden and Merritt on just one video recording charge. This way, Bonta gets to say, look, I secured a conviction, technically, and also Daleiden and Merritt don't go to prison.
What other impacts did this case have on Planned Parenthood?
Well, Daleiden's investigation resulted in a $7.8 million settlement where two companies admitted to illegally selling for profit tissue from aborted fetuses from Planned Parenthood in Southern California. It is legal for buyers to pay for costs related to getting the parts, but it is illegal to sell these parts of aborted babies for a profit. So again, as I mentioned earlier, just months after the video was released in 2015, Planned Parenthood said it would be no longer accepting quote unquote reimbursement for parts of aborted fetuses. Bonta's office, aside from painting this as getting a conviction and a win, he did bring up a bit of a contrast to the Trump administration's pardoning last week of 23 individuals who were convicted for blockading abortion centers. We're going to start to see a lot of tying of state and national politics, at least from Attorney General Rob Bonta, as it's likely that we're going to see this $25 million legal fund for cases against the Trump administration get funded by the California legislature in the coming days.
Well, Kenneth, thank you for your insight on this story. Listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com.